Nigeria has a troubling history of political assassinations, with several high-profile murders remaining unsolved to this day. These killings have often targeted politicians, journalists and activists, and are often tied to power struggle, corruption, or attempt to silence opposition or dissent. The lack of justice and accountability in these cases reflect deeper issues within the nation's political and judicial systems, as well as with the security agencies. So, let's take a look at some of the cases of unsolved assassinations in Nigeria. Without further ado, let's dive into the details. Welcome to this edition of Hispo Media. Gabriel here. The polities of the Second Republic recorded the least cases of political assassinations in the nation's history. With the return of the military, all these will change. The case of Delegiwa, an eminent journalist and editor-in-chief of the Newswatch magazine, can never be forgotten in a hurry. Delegiwa was a journalist whose pen can cause ripples in government circles, and the Babangida regime did not take this lightly. Giwa was killed under the military administration of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, and he was murdered with a lethal bomb which was sent to him supposedly from the CNC, that is, the commander-in-chief, on October 19, 1986. The journalist was alleged to be involved in investigating the story of Gabriel Okon. Okon was arrested at Aminu Kano International Airport in Kano with kilograms of lawful drugs and was said to have died in police custody. The outcome of his killing has up till today remained unsolved, and his killers have not been brought to justice. But guys, remember you can take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Hispo Media. It will go a long way to support our effort. Thank you. The Babangida regime and its interim national government came to a crashing end on November 17, 1983, when General Sani Abacha booted the administration in a military coup d'etat. However, if Babangida regime was bad in terms of perceived politically motivated assassinations, the Abacha regime came to be worst off. His regime was characterized by high-profile serial killings and forced disappearance. Notable among these killings include Vice Admiral Babatunde Elegbede. Admiral Babatunde Elegbede was gunned down by unknown gunmen on the 19th of June 1994 along the Gbadaga-Oronshoki Expressway in Lagos. Babatunde Elegbede was said to be hit by more than 70 automatic rifle bullets during the attack. In July 2001, 3 of the 7 suspected killers were formally charged to court. However, as of September 2009, nobody had been convicted of the murder. Elegbede was a military governor of Cross River State between July 1975 and October 1978. Much later, he served as the chief of Nigeria's Defense Intelligence Agency from July 1986 to January 1990. But that is not all. Another unfortunate incident of murder was the killing of Pa Alfred Riwani. On Friday, October 6, 1995, between the early hours of 8 and 8:30 a.m., 5 men in Peugeot 504 car came to the premise of 79-year-old nationalist and one of the founding leaders of the then Action Group, Pa Alfred Riwani, at 100 Odudua Crescent in GRA, Ikeja. A few minutes later, the nationalist was gunned down in his bedroom by the assassins. Following his assassination, 5 suspects said to have participated actively in the murder were initially arrested, while a Peugeot 504 suspected to have been used by the assassins was recovered in Benin, where it was parked few days later. Some of his domestic staff were also arrested later, but no one has since been brought to justice for the murder. Pa Alfred Riwani, as you would recall, was a vibrant politician who undoubtedly fought against the bad and unpopular policies of the Abacha regime. Next on our list of unsolved murders is Kudirat Abiola. Alhaja Kudirat Abiola was a senior wife of prisoner of conscience and acclaimed winner of June 12, 1993 election, Chief Moshood Abiola. The assassination of Kudirat Abiola was believed by Amnesty International to have been a political killing carried out by a government agent acting with or without the knowledge of the authorities. Mrs. Abiola and her driver were shot at point-blank range by unknown assailants near her home in Lagos on the 4th of June, 1996. The military head of state, General Sani Abacha, expressed his condolences to the family and described the killing as, quote, the work of armed bandits. However, it is very clear that the murder of Kudirat Abiola was not an act of armed robbery. Kudirat Abiola was a persistent and courageous critic of Abacha regime and continued to call for the release of her husband. In October 1998, Major Hamza al-Mustafa appeared in court along with Abacha's son, Mohammed Abacha, charged with the murder of Kudirat Abiola. During the trial, the self-confessed killer, Sergeant Barnabas Jabila, also known as Sergeant Rogers, said he was obeying orders from his superior, Major Hamza al-Mustafa, but al-Mustafa denied the charges. Though on 30th of June 2012, Hamza al-Mustafa and Alhaji Latif Shofulahan were sentenced to death for the murder. The two were later released on appeal by a court in Lagos. What this means is that no one has been convicted for the murder. Other unsolved assassinations that took place during this era include Suliat Adedeji, an Ibadan-based politician who was murdered on November 14, 1996 in Ibadan, Oyo State. Toyin Onagburuwa was killed on December 18, 1996 in Yaba, Lagos. Meanwhile, at the dawn of the Fourth Republic on May 29, 1999, many Nigerians expressed a profound sense of relief that the era of brutal tyranny was over. Many thought that the days of needless and mindless killings were behind us as the military were out of power. But this was just an illusion. This era became the worst in terms of political assassinations. The Fourth Republic alone accounts for the highest cases of politically motivated assassinations in the history of this country. So, let's examine a few notable ones from this era. We begin with the assassination of Chief Bola Ige. Perhaps one of the most disheartening murders of this era was the bloody assassination of the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Bola Ige. Ige was a member of the Alliance for Democracy AD, one of the political parties that presented a candidate for the 1999 elections. He was killed in his home in Ibadan, in the southwestern state of Oyo, on the 23rd of December 2001. He was the highest level politician to be killed in Nigeria since the government of President Obasanjo came to power in 1999. Meanwhile, the long-running dispute between Osun State Governor Bisi Akande and his deputy Iyola Omishore had apparently contributed to the death of an Osun State legislator, Odunaya Olagbaju, and was believed to have set the stage for this murder. Though the motive of the murder was not confirmed, many sources link the killing to the political crisis in the state. Notwithstanding, various people were arrested and tried for their involvement in the murder, including Iyola Omishore, but all were acquitted. His assassination provoked severe outcry in the country. At the time of recording this video, 23 years after, his killers have not been brought to justice. But while the nation was still mourning the December 23, 2001 brutal murder of Chief Bola Ige, the country was on January 7, 2002 rudely awoken to the news of another murder. This time, it was that of Mr. S.A. Awoniyi, the confidential secretary to the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Muhammadu Lawal Uwais. Awoniyi was killed in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Though he was not particularly involved in the politics of the day, it is believed that his position as a confidential secretary to the Chief Justice of Nigeria put him in harm's way. He was found soaked in his own blood, reportedly stabbed to death by unknown persons. Another dramatic assassination is that of Marshal Harry, the national vice chairman for the South-South zone of the largest opposition party, the All Nigerian People's Party, ANPP. He was an important politician both nationally and within Rivers State, where he was known as a political kingmaker. Marshal Harry ironically had condemned the killing of Bola Ige, saying it was a national calamity. In his own words, he said, quote, "The murder of Chief Bola Ige has dented the image of this country. Our image has been shattered and it will be difficult for us to redeem it." But after the 1999 election, Marshal Harry was still a member of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, and supported the Rivers State Governor Peter Odili. However, he would soon begin to publicly disagree with Odili's policies and began a drive to ensure that he would not return to power in 2003. He also began a campaign against President Olusegun Obasanjo and helped in creating the campaign for the realization of a South-South presidency. The PDP suspended Harry in 2001 because of this anti-party activity, and the next year he joined the ANPP. But few weeks before the election, he was murdered in Abuja on March 5, 2003. His death has been linked to the bad feeling between him and the Rivers State government. But no one was conclusively brought to justice for the murder. Meanwhile, the police concluded that his death was an unfortunate case of armed robbery. So, do you think the police was right? Let me know in the comment section. Next on this list is Barnabas Igwe and wife. Social and political reformers who criticize abuses of power have also been targeted for political assassination in Nigeria. This was a case in Anambra State when Barnabas Igwe, chairman of the state branch of the Nigerian Bar Association, and his wife, Abigail Amaka Igwe, were ambushed in their car and brutally murdered in Onitsha. The couple were murdered on September 1st, 2002. While his wife died on the spot, Barnabas died later at the hospital, but not until after reportedly making a dying declaration linking Chinwoke Mbadinuju to the attack. The dying Barnabas was said to have mentioned Ken Emiakai, the commissioner for works in Mbadinuju's administration, as the leader of the gang that attacked him and his wife. But as a form of defense, Chinwoke Mbadinuju declared that he was attending a World Igbo Congress in Houston, USA at the time of the attack. Human Rights Watch believe there is strong and credible evidence to suggest that their killings was politically motivated. Igwe had been a powerful public critic of Anambra's former governor, Chinwoke Mbadinuju, openly calling for the governor's resignation due to his failure to pay government workers for several months. Despite repeated trial of Ken Emiakai and the subsequent trial of Mbadinuju for this killing, no one has since been conclusively brought to justice for the murder. Next is Obona Uchi. The murder of Obona Uchi, the All Nigeria People's Party senatorial candidate in the southeastern state of Imo and former commissioner in the Imo state government, is yet another case of unfortunate political assassination in Nigeria. Obona Uchi was shot in his home in Owerri on February 8, 2003 and died 2 days later. Speaking to journalists before his death in the hospital, Uche reportedly said he believed his attack was politically motivated. He explained that 2 days before the shooting, he had been trailed to the party secretariat by a group of armed men who had asked his driver where he was. Uche was preparing to contest the April election for the Olu senatorial zone on a platform of the ANPP when he was brutally murdered. Joining the list of victims of political assassinations in Nigeria is Alhaji Lateef Olaniyan, a close associate of the strongman of Ibadan politics, Alhaji Lamidi Adedibu, both of the People's Democratic Party. Lateef Olaniyan became an unfortunate victim of political assassination on July 16, 2005, when he was shot in his car at Ibadan, very close to his residence. The deceased family has linked the killing to the government of the day. This is because of the feud between Governor Rashid Ladoja and Lamidi Adedibu. However, the assassination remains unsolved to this day. We cap this story with the assassination of Anthony Olufonsho Williams in Lagos on July 27, 2006. The civil engineer turned politician was found bound, strangled and stabbed at his home in Dolphin Estate, a wealthy neighborhood in Ikoyi, Lagos. The next day, on July 28, 2006, 2 people were arrested in connection with the murder, but his death has remained unsolved to this day. Many have pointed fingers at prominent people in Nigerian politics today. Sadly, it is observed that most of the high-profile political assassinations have been linked to the government of the day, either at the state or federal level. This assertion is also true in the case of the assassination of Kudirat Abiola, as covered in the video displayed here. But before you go watch the video displayed here, don't forget to let us know if we miss any high-profile assassination in this video. Remember to book the like button on this one and subscribe to Hispo Media if you have not done so already. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.